Welcome to Just the Who of Us, hosted by Reah. This is a space for honest, thoughtful conversations around mental health, life journeys, holistic wellnesses, and the experiences that shape who we are. Take a breath, settle in, and join Reah and today's guests as we explore the stories that connect us.
Welcome back to Just the Who of Us. Today with us, we have Rob Rene, and we are going to have a conversation about a near-death experience. Well, actually, a death to life experience in a couple of ways, a couple of aspects. How Rob took his experience and put it into passion work to help others. Rob, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Sounds great. Willie, nice to meet you. Super excited to be here and just pray that we have an effect on one person. I know there's one person listening to us that's really gonna be impactful today. So that I'm excited to
Absolutely.
talk through my story because it's pretty crazy. One, I grew up just as a young athlete and thought that's what I was gonna do for a living. I had been a runner when I was young and really was excited about life and was a really good runner and won a national championship, got a full ride scholarship to Division I school and so forth.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
in college, I got hit by a 4x4 truck that literally threw me 36 feet and I almost died that day. That was my second near-death experience as a college athlete. And that changed the whole direction of my life. Then I went into the corporate world, and during that time frame, I was a very selfish looking inward. It was about me. How can I make more money? How can I have a better place for my family? And I kind of did what the world tells you to do, right? You
Right.
get a job at a big corporation, and you buy a house, and you have a white picket fence, and you have three kids, and you do everything that the world, just chasing what the world was in my mind what I was supposed to be doing. But
Right.
anyway, it was all very a selfish period. And then the pandemic hit, and I call that my second truck because it had a similar impact that the first one did. I was on this path going, and then all of a sudden, boom, my whole
Uh-huh.
life changed. And that's really what happened with the pandemic, is I was on a corporate career going, things from outward perspective, everything was going great, making a lot of money, traveling, had a really nice house, nice car, just family was doing good, just things were going well. And then boom, COVID hits, and my whole life changed again. And that's when I really started investigating what was going on in the health world. And I didn't realize how corrupt our healthcare system had become. And really opened up my eyes to a lot of corruption and that I really had no clue about, which was really fascinating to me and also very frustrating to me. I'm like, how do
Right.
I live 50 years of my life and have no clue what's really going on?
Right.
And so, and I developed this skill of research, which I think it's really fun because I don't believe anything anybody says, right? Like you tell me something, I'll take it, but I'm not going to believe it, and I'll get
Right.
information from multiple sources, from the right, from the left, from the up top to the bottom, every which way, and then I go validate it against the sources that I've come to find are valid and true.
Right.
Like one of those sources for me is the Bible, right? But there's also a lot of really good scientific places I go to, and
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of different resources that I've come to trust. But I don't believe anything until I go through that process, and then I make up my own mind on whether or not I believe in that particular thing because I
Right.
found out so much about our corrupt communication system in our world and how we're being fed a narrative in a lot of cases, and just our healthcare system is a mess. I'm like, so I
Yeah.
go been through some crazy health processes myself this last 6 years, and so I've been really digging into all natural health, and then how do you integrate all natural health with modern medicine? And
Right.
so that's been fascinating to me, and that's been my journey, is like going through that process. And I've ended up creating a company and a four-pillar system that I'm excited about because I really believe that's going to help people in a dramatic way. with my faith change, I really and one of the most recent near death experience just has totally 100% shifted my life. So I'm kind of giving the summary, right? We can talk into detail about all these things, but this last one had such an impact on my life that it's like I don't care about any physical possession. I care about making a difference in the world and trying to help people. It's like God keeps saving me, and he's
Right.
saving me for a reason. So I have to go make an impact in the world. It's not about an impact for me.
Right. Right.
It's how can I help other people? Because I believe that's why he saved me. He's like, okay, I've trained you to do all these things. I've given you all this information. You've done this, you've done that, you've done, all these things. He can now go help my family, right? Help my kingdom. And so
Right. Yeah.
that's what I'm so passionate about,
Mhm.
just trying to help people. So there you go. That's Rob Rene in a nutshell.
I love it. I really love when people have stories of, I went through something really big in life and I came out thinking, how can I benefit other people? How can I
Right.
help other people? I love those stories because we can go through things in life and it can go one of two ways. It can set us back or it can push us forward.
That's right.
It
Yeah.
can have us start looking at ourselves, and or it can help, have us start looking outward. How can I impact this around me? And
Yeah.
a lot of times it's starts with how we impact ourselves. Because if I'm not being good to myself, I can't very easily be good to the world, you know?
That's so good. Yeah, you're so right. Because if you don't take care of this person and temple that God gave you, right? You have one of these,
Yeah,
right? You only have
right,
one, so you have to take care of yourself
right.
before you can take care of anybody else. And that's a big shift of mine. For 25 years, I totally ignored my temple. I totally ignored. I drank alcohol every day. I ate poorly. I'd stop my exercise. Just I was just living a world that is not good for this mind
Right.
or the body, right? And I just became, a shell of who I really was as a person. And so,
Yeah.
I'm so excited about who I am now because I've been through the worst possible health crises that you can, come upon,
Yeah.
and I'm winning the battle. And I've learned how to help people with similar battles. So it's like, okay, guess what? I know some things that you probably don't know
Right.
that I've learned through this process. And so I want to help you. I want to share it with you. I want to give you this information because, man, if I would have looked about myself, a year and a half ago, I would have loved to have somebody say, "Hey, I've just been through this process. Here you need to do this, right? Or here's some
Right.
resources for you." And it's like there's nothing out there that I could have found, and so I've just been trudging through life, and I believe I've just uncovered amazing things that I want to help people with. So that's it's been a transition. One of the things I love that you did say though too was we can make a choice, right? You can either have the problem and live in the valley and stay in the
Yeah.
valley,
Yeah.
or you can look at where you are and say, instead of saying to me, you say, what can I learn from this so that I can help others? And
Yeah.
once you make that shift, life becomes so much better because then you're looking at things glass half full, not glass half empty. And it's like,
Right.
okay,
Right.
yes, I'm going through a hard time. Yes, this really sucks. But what's the lesson? What am I learning here? And then how can I take this lesson and then go help other people so they don't have to go through that, or maybe not as long, right?
Yeah.
We all go through problems, and it's never going to stop. So just know that you're going to have problems, but then
Yeah.
instead, just like transition that to what am I learning? And
Yeah.
then what is this teaching me? And then how can I use that for good? And how can I help other people with it? So
Yeah.
that's a big shift of mine.
You mentioned asking the question, well, what can I learn? For a large portion of my life, um, my focus was control in a lot of areas. because I went through some things when I was a child that I couldn't control, and they
Mm,
always stuck with me. In a few ways, you know,
right.
and trauma can do that, and
Yes.
you know, experiencing near having near that near the having near death experiences, it's a trauma as well.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
took my trauma response for a long time was control. Okay, now I got to control everything I can, and it took me into my late 30s through a very good friend of mine. He wrote a book about a very similar thing, but his was through his marriage and divorce.
Okay.
Um, and he talked about you can't control what you can't control, right? Like you
Right.
can't control
Right.
everything. And my biggest thing I had to learn was that I had to not, I can't, I just can't. And accepting that we can't control everything. And that, reading that book, I was like, oh my gosh, like, did you write this for me? Because that, I needed to know that, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, it kind of goes back to like, people, one of the reasons, one of, if not the main reason that coaches and mentors, we do what we do is so that someone else can benefit from our experience and
Yeah.
handle it in the way that we later understood how to handle it, but didn't in the moment.
Right. So
And,
true.
you know, I think so often our need to control things we couldn't control in the past kind of overshadows being able or choosing to look glass half full, be optimistic, ask myself what I can learn from this, you know, because we're still busy trying to control everything
Right.
that, you know, and so it's kind of like, it's one of those things to where, you know, it very much is a true statement that you can either you know, take a step back from the thing that you went through, or you can step forward and try to have clarity. You can try to have control, or you can try to have clarity. You
Right.
know, you
Yeah.
you can't do both
Right.
because things happen and you can't control them. You can control how you react, how you respond,
Yeah.
and
That's
what
so
you
key.
do
Like what
differently.
you said, like it's yeah. You have the only thing you can do is control what you can control, right? Like
Exactly.
you said. So it's like
Yeah.
you can control your response, right? And so
Hmm.
if you just make that mind shift of and say, how can I use this for good, or how can I use this learn something,
Hmm.
and then or what is the lesson, right? Because sometimes as you're going through it, it sucks, right? You're like, this is no fun.
Right.
And
Hmm.
so I don't like being here. And of course, hopefully things will get better and they will get better. But it's like, what is that process? And so anyway, it's fascinating when you make that mindset shift, how
Yeah. Hmm.
amazing things do become, because then it's like you start seeing the good in things, right? You start seeing the good in people. And then instead of the little things that used to drive you nuts, it's like those things don't matter, right? It's like, what do those little things that drive you nuts, does that really matter? Is that
Yeah.
important? And
Yeah.
that's so interesting how once you get this life of gratitude and connection. I believe I have a connection with the Lord. Asking His help all the time, and I believe He's directing me. At the same point, it's like I'm going through some horrible things, right? And
Right.
everybody does, and I don't want them or wish them on anybody, but I still have a lot of gratitude. I'm like, I woke up today with breath in my lungs.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a reason why I'm still here. He has a plan for my life. So what can I do today to help somebody else? And
Right.
today I'm so excited to be here talking to you because I believe somebody's gonna be listening to this and saying, yeah, maybe I can start acting a little bit differently, or hey, maybe I should read this, or
Mm,
maybe I should listen to this, and maybe I can start learning how to transition my mind from being
yeah.
going downhill to going, uphill. So,
Yeah, very much so.
excited about
Absolutely.
that.
Let's take a little bit of time to talk about the four pillars.
Sounds
Um,
great. Sounds great. This is something I'm super passionate about because the life health issues I've been through this last 5 years, maybe even 6, is I've been taught a lot of different things, and there's four of them that are really, really impactful. That I've created a system I call the light code system, and the light code system has four pillars of health. And so the first pillar is light. I've learned so much. Literally, the first thing that God created was light.
Mm-hmm.
And we, as Americans, and or just probably all across the world, we're spending 90% plus of our time indoors under fluorescent lights, and we're not getting the natural light that God created and designed. He designed our bodies to receive this light because it's very helpful for our mitochondria. And the mitochondria is just the energy systems of our cells. So we'll talk through light because we have a solution with red light therapy and near infrared. That's part of our light pillar. That's really, really important. And the second pillar is called frequencies. So one of the first things I learned through my health research was frequencies. I was introduced to this mad scientist who's working on these patches, and they had little crystalline structures on them. And he said that you could put a frequency on it and you could apply it to your body. And it's going to help you with issues. And he had a whole bunch of different types of issues for different patches for them. And when he first told me, I thought he was crazy. I'm like, give me a break. I said, there's no medicine that's like going to go in the body to help me. And he's like, no. And I was like, I just literally thought it was stupid. So I started doing, guess what? That research, right? So I dug
Uh-huh.
in and did a ton of research. I'm like, this guy's nuts. And then the more I learned, I was like, oh my gosh, God designed this body so cool that it literally is even down to our cells. Our cells interact via vibration, and those vibrations give off a frequency. And I was
Mm.
like, okay, well, what is a frequency? That sounds like a complex term. I was like,
Right.
oh my gosh, frequencies are not complex. They're simple. They're everywhere, right? Colors are frequency, sounds are frequency, lights are frequency. Your cell phone uses frequencies. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like, so then I'm like, okay, so frequencies aren't weird. And then God designed our bodies made up of energy, and it gives off, it reacts to and receives and gives off frequencies. So then
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, so now it's not as weird as I thought it was. Let's see if it actually will help people. So we learned that these little crystalline structures can hold information. Both IBM and Stanford have done research on these little crystalline structures where they can physically hold information like a computer hard drive can hold information. And then we apply a frequency, and then we literally encode Bible verses on them as well. But when you apply it to your body, those frequencies connect to the energy system in your body, which is really cool because
Yeah.
it interacts with your body. And we can see it with an EEG monitor. Put those one EEG monitors on your head, and you can see your brain waves. And when a person is in pain, for example, their brain waves are like going like this because they're in strife. Their body is like, I don't feel well. This hurts,
Right.
and their body is struggling. And then you put the EEG monitor on them, and then you apply these patches, and you can see within 5 seconds it starts smoothing out. And you're like, why is the brain smoothing out? And it's because in our opinion, it's because the patch is interacting with your frequencies and helping the body interact with that particular problem and issue with the frequencies we have on these patches. So that's the frequency pillar. So we have light, lots of good things it can do to the body, and then these frequencies, which do natural things and balancing of your frequencies inside your body. And then the third one is fuel, right? It's very important. We are what we eat. That I learned that a lot when I was a young athlete. I
Yeah.
used
Yeah.
to, one of the reasons why I was a better runner, I think, than others is because I learned early on how to fuel my body. So I
Mm.
would be eating really healthy, and my competitors were out eating hot dogs and hamburgers, right?
Right.
And at the end of
Right.
the race, even though we had similar talent, at the end of the race, I always had something extra because I knew how to fuel my body. And so
Mm-hmm.
the lesson that I got taught really early. And then when the pandemic hit, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I keep my family safe? Let's make sure we, consume the right things and the right
Right.
nutrients through this problem. And then I got introduced to So, and at that time frame, I was doing a lot of research on the Bible. That's when I really developed a personal relationship with God, was through that period, because I had been a Christian my entire life, but I was a Christian in kind of name only. It was like I'd go to church on the weekend, and then I wouldn't do anything about church until the next weekend, right? And I'd
Right.
listen to another service, and I wouldn't actually do anything. I
Yeah.
never really read the Bible. I read pieces of the Bible, so on and so forth. So during this
Yeah.
period when I had time, I was like, I really did the research. I'm like, okay, could this let me understand the Bible, and could this be true? I don't know. I really didn't know, right? Like all these other people that I know and like, they say it is, but I don't
Right.
know. And so I
Right.
did what's called the TAP method. I did the textual criticism of the Bible. It's like, is the actual physical text accurate? And so there's a
Right.
whole methodology. Oh my gosh, you learn how accurate the actual text is.
Right.
And that just blew me away. I'm like, wow, that's pretty darn convincing and pretty cool. And the second one was archaeology evidence, right? So you go look at all the archaeological evidence of the Bible, and it's just undeniable how accurate the Bible is. And it's like, wow, okay. And then you look at the prophetic evidence of the Bible, which is the P, and it's like, it's just overwhelmingly undeniable that that book is the most authentic document ever in existence, regardless of what type of religion you believe in, or faith, or even, just historical books, right? It
Hmm.
is by far the most accurate book ever, and an authenticated book. And so I'm like, okay, if all these things are match up, so what?
Hmm.
Maybe I should read it. I didn't believe it was true. I just thought, okay, this is an actual authentic document. So
Right.
let me
Right.
read it. And then when I read it, it literally is a living word, and I believe I developed a personal relationship with God through this. It's not a religion. It's not, it doesn't. I don't have to go to a building to profess my beliefs. I have a relationship. So anyway, that was super fun. And the reason why I mentioned that religion piece was I just started doing a lot of research on the Bible and all the biblical ingredients in the Bible from a health perspective. I'm like, I'm researching all this stuff about health, and I'm like, well, what does the Bible say about
Yeah.
health? And
Right.
there's lots of information in the Bible about herbs and superfoods. I'm like, wow, maybe I can create something that will really help people. And found some great herbs and superfoods that I was like putting together, but there was nothing different than what was already out in the market. So I'm like, but it's like, Lord, help me find something that is going to make this really different and really help people. And I got introduced to this gentleman who had this molecular hydrogen blend. And this molecular hydrogen blend is super cool because it acts as a master antioxidant in the bloodstream. So hydrogen is the smallest element that God created, right? Light's the first thing he did create, and hydrogen is the smallest element. And the reason why that's important is when you get hydrogen in your bloodstream, a lot of things don't cross the blood-brain barrier. And
Mm.
well, hydrogen will, because it's so small. And it actually, your cells need the oxygen. In order for your cells to get oxygen, hydrogen is a really key piece of that. And
Right.
so it helps your blood and helps the mitochondria in your blood from the inside, right? Inside your bloodstream. And then since it does act as a master antioxidant, it goes and finds the sentient cells or the zombie cells that are in all of our blood, and it gets rid of them. So, you don't want those zombie cells or sentient cells to gather, because when they do, guess what that causes, right? It causes the big C word and things that people don't want,
Yeah.
right? So if you
Yeah.
can clear out your bloodstream, then it's super, super important. And I'm going through a journey right now. I've been going up through a year and a half about that C word. So I know this space really, really well. I've done ridiculous amounts of research, and molecular hydrogen is a super cool component as part of that. So that's the what I ended up creating was a supplement called Exodus. And Exodus is my company's Exodus Strong. But this Exodus supplement has 7 biblical herbs that give you the nutrients that you need, and has saffron in it, which really helps with your stress response.
Yeah.
And then it's got aloe, which is really super good for gut health, and it's
Yes.
got cumin, frankincense, and myrrh, which all
Oh,
help with the inflammation response. And inflammation is the source of all disease. So if you can reduce inflammation in the body, it's really, really good thing and healthy for the body. And then you add the molecular hydrogen component to those seven ingredients, and it's just like an incredibly powerful supplement. So that's the fuel pillar of it, as well as I teach people how to eat well, eat whole foods, right? Eat
hmm.
organic foods because our food supply has been so corrupted. It's just crazy. Um,
Yeah. Mhm.
those are the three, and then the fourth one is I call it the faith pillar. The faith pillar is really if you don't not a person of Christian faith, that's fine. You don't need to be because you can still know that the mind is really powerful. The mind body
Mhm.
spirit connection is real,
Yeah.
regardless of what religion you believe in, because it can control your body. And there's
100%.
there's
Yeah.
lots of research about that, and I didn't believe it. I'm like, my mind can't control my body. And then you start researching it, it's like, my mind can
Uh-huh.
control my it's like,
Uh-huh.
wow, that's super cool. So if
Yeah.
you can combine the your mind and make it really strong and powerful for the results that you want, and then you give it the light that it needs from the outside to help your mitochondria produce your energy and restore a lot of what's been destroyed through our air, our health, and our water, and all the things that we're our environment that we're not getting good sun, and then you add the frequencies to level out your energy system, and then you clean it out with the fuel component, and the light code system is just the most incredible way to restore people's energy systems and their health in a really dramatic way. So it's super exciting to talk through it with people because once they see the whole system and the reason why, they're like, oh, that makes total sense. And it's
Right.
really simple, right? We have a big red light therapy mat that you can lay on for 20 minutes in the morning. That really helps get everything rolling. And then you take the molecular hydrogen capsules. It start gives you the energy and nutrients you need in the day. You can either put on a patch, or we have a mist that you can spray on the body from the frequency perspective. And
Oh,
then in
wow.
the morning, I always start off my day with gratitude and prayer, right? So we include a prayer guide that goes with our products so that you can literally declare it out loud with your mouth. The Bible tells us there's power in the tongue. So use your tongue, declare things out loud, and you're reading it and you're hearing yourself say it, and it's really powerful. And then your mind starts believing it. And when your mind starts believing
Yep.
it, guess what? Your
Yep.
mind can make things happen with your body. So you combine those things, and it's not a big shift in habit, and
Yeah.
but the dramatic results that people are getting is why I'm so excited, right? It's like it's helped me a ton with what my battle. At least I've been using all the different components, and I've got all different types of things that I try to help people with. But the light code system is kind of the culmination of everything that I've learned.
Wow.
Sorry, it takes a while to explain it
No,
all, but
no, I say wow because it kind of it's not just a one-stop shop, if that makes
right.
sense. Your your options are from when I first get up to starting my day, helping me start my day, which is really cool. And even kind of wrapping up my afternoon with,
Yeah.
you know, and
Use the red light right during the afternoon. Some people do it in the evening because they think they say it helps them sleep better.
yeah,
And so you can do these things, and you don't have to do all of them, right? If you
right,
don't want to do the supplement, don't do the supplement. But at least eat well, right? Give your body the
right,
nutrients that it needs. It needs 96 nutrients in a day. So make sure you're getting good nutrients. But if you don't want to do the frequency thing, don't do the frequency thing. But
right,
if you combine all of them, they get exponentially better. So I
right.
recommend you do them all. But if you don't want to do them all, just do one, right?
Yeah,
Just start somewhere. And
start
even if
somewhere.
you don't
Right.
start with any of my light code, start off your morning with gratitude, right? If you start your
Yeah,
morning off with gratitude and you start thinking, your first thing you think about is things that you're thankful for, and you have gratitude, your whole day shifts. Your whole day just
yeah,
becomes better. And this is like, wow. I didn't know that when I'm in the valley, when I'm in the worst situation in my life, I can have gratitude for things. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden those bad things don't become so bad.
Yeah, I was pulling out of my house yesterday. I found out a couple of days ago that my little cousin has leukemia.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, and luckily the treatment that they're undergoing seems pretty simple.
Right.
They're not a kid, but they're still pretty young.
Right.
And so, but the treatment plan that they told me about seems simple enough. It seems it's not super invasive. Seems doable. So there's hope. And so, I pulled out of my driveway, I think it was yesterday, and I was kind of stressing about something. I said, you know what? I'm grateful that I'm healthy
Yeah.
because no matter what is going on, well, I say no matter, almost no matter what, there are very severe things that are like, no, this deserves all the focus and the prayer and the healing.
Yeah.
But no matter what is going on in my life, realistically, it could be so much worse,
That's right. That's
always.
right.
And so we have to show gratitude for that. We have to acknowledge that. And it really does, it's helpful not only to show gratitude, but it's also helpful to kind of remind ourselves,
Yeah.
look, this
Yeah.
thing that I'm going through, it's stressful. It deserves my attention. And I have the right to be, have an emotion about it. But I also definitely deserve to acknowledge and realize that, okay, I can get through it. And
Yeah.
there are things that people can't necessarily get through. They don't have that option, and I do. And for that,
Yeah.
I'm grateful. You know,
Yeah, that's such an amazing way to look at life because yes, you can look at your own situation and think that nothing else could be worse.
right,
But
right,
it literally can be.
right.
And
And
there
it
are
may,
other people going through it, right?
right. And it may feel like the worst thing to you. It may be the worst thing going on in your life so
Yeah.
far.
Yep.
But there's definitely things that you can look back on and say, you know what, I got through that. And at the time, that was the worst thing in my life.
Right. And then that's where you take that lesson, right? You start thinking about it and like, what was I being taught during that
Yeah.
period?
What can I
And you
learn?
will be
Yeah.
amazed when you start thinking about that and you ask yourself that and you're like, oh my gosh, I learned that, I can do this. And then
Right.
this happens or I was introduced to this person that
Yeah. Yeah.
if I wouldn't have gone through that, I would have never met that person. And that person has done this for me in my life. It's like you
Right.
start looking how your life is orchestrated, and I believe that God is in control, and it's like things are going to happen. It's like we don't understand them, and but that's okay not to understand them. But
Right.
just think about that. Just get that glass half full mentality, and then you start looking for the good things, and you'll find them. If you
Right.
look for the bad things, you'll find them. So
Yes.
focus
Yeah.
on the good things, and your mind will start looking for the good in people. It'll look for the good in situations. It'll start transitioning to where, gosh, life, yes, this is a really bad thing, but yeah, there are other people who, might not have another day, right? And
Right. Right.
like I could be that person, or I could be in the ground, right? It's like there's
Right.
worse things that could happen, and they're not yet. So God
Yeah.
has breath in your lungs, right? He literally breathed breath into your body. So since you have that, he still has a plan for your life, regardless of where you are.
Hmm.
So that's super cool because when you think about that, you're like waking up, you're like, thank you, Lord, I have breath in my lungs today.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
can I do, right? What can I do? Who can I help? And how do we make this world a better place? And that's why I'm so excited about the light code system is I want to help people with their health because once you start feeling better, and you start getting the energy that you used to have, and or it's our life is really tough right now. Literally is that 70% of our food supply is ultra processed food, where it's really hard
Yes.
to eat well,
Yes.
and our
Yes.
sun is being blocked by a lot of different things, so we're not getting natural sunlight, and we're all inside all the time, so we're not getting
Right.
natural sunlight, so our bodies are just struggling. So literally just read this stat yesterday. um, Tired in the afternoon, like really tired, exhausted. And it's like that's 70% of our, working force is exhausted
Mm-hmm.
because of all those factors, right? Our
Right.
food, our water, there's a lot of bad stuff in our water. Our air isn't that great. Our food supply sucks. We're not getting the natural sunlight. So there's lots
Yeah.
of stresses on this body.
Very
And
much. Yeah.
God didn't design it that way. He designed
Right.
it to go get sunlight. He designed it to have whole nutrients that we eat into our body. And so when you start looking at how, God's design,
Right.
and then how we've unfortunately really kind of, with the fast food and not our variety, and just got to have things, got to do this, got to do that, that's not the life God designed.
Yeah.
And so we can get back to that pretty easy, right? Just
Hmm.
realizing that, hey, this temple is we only have one of them, so we better darn take care of it because it's the only one we've got. And
Right.
then when you
Right.
start looking at how we did design it, it's really fascinating. It's like, okay, that's not too difficult, right? So
Right.
there's certain things you can do, and you don't have to do them all. You don't do them all at once, but man, they do get addictive. Where you're like, wow, I feel really good today. And so there is, if we have a few minutes, I love to tell
Yeah.
people there's 7 things that they can do for free that are just do these, right? Forget the light code system for a minute, right? I love the light code because I think it's going to help you a lot, but
Right.
forget about that. Just when you wake up in the morning, start off with gratitude, right? Start off with gratitude. And I combine prayer. But if you're not a prayerful person, just at least come get everybody can do that. And then the second thing is water. We're not getting enough. We're dehydrated, and
Right.
so I'm about 200 pounds, so I need 100 ounces of water. So just do that math for yourself. How
Okay.
many ounces of water do you need in a day? And make sure you drink that water. Make sure it's filtered water, good water, because there's bad stuff in a lot of the water. But get good filtered water. It couldn't, it's typically can be free, right? So I'm trying to do free things for people because it's like, but just drink healthy water.
Right.
Drink a lot of it because that's important. So there's two. And then the next three are pretty fun because you get outside and you get the natural sunlight that comes in. The first 45 minutes of the day are what's called blue light. So there's no UV rays in it, and it's just incredibly powerful for your skin. So get the first 45 minutes of sun. You don't have to do the whole 45 minutes, but get out there for 10 or 15 minutes and get that sun on your face and or your body. And it's amazing how it energizes the body. And then while you're out there, you take your socks and shoes off and you get your feet on God's given earth. And it's called grounding. And I thought grounding was so dumb when I first heard about it. 'Cause I'm like, give me a break. But then I did my research, right? And I find out so many things that in my mind are silly. But
Mm-hmm.
then when I do the actual research, it's like, oh, wow. Okay, now, I shifted from not believing my wife. I was like, that's dumb, to, oh, you're so smart. So I love that, right? So grounding is really it literally discharges the negative energy from your body and recharges it with positive energy. And it's like that
Mm-hmm.
all you have to do is get your feet on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can sell you a $5,000 mat that you can put in your office, and you can have this $5,000 mat that does the exact same thing.
Right.
So
Right.
why not just do outside? You're getting the sun, you're getting grounded, and then
Mhm.
you can do some breathing techniques. These breathing techniques are super simple, right? It's there's if you do Google them for years to your life. So it's like we all have to breathe. So why
Right.
not do these breathing techniques? And it's really simple, and it just it floods your body with oxygen. And bad things can't live in an oxygenated environment. So it's really, really good for your health. So those are three things. In 10, 15 minutes, you've done all three of them.
Right.
And you already did the other two, so there's five, right? We've already taken care of five out of the seven things. And then the other one is movement, right? We need to move. You need to get your 10,000 steps or whatever the recommendations are. I don't really count the steps, but I do know that you need to move, right? This body was designed to not be sitting and being still. We need to move, and that just it changes your entire body. And then the nutrient thing. So that's
Hmm.
six. The seventh is making sure your body literally needs 96 nutrients in a day. And most people are not going to get them through their food. In fact,
Right.
99% of us, it's almost impossible now to get them through your own food. So you need
Right.
to supplement that in some fashion, but also just know that look for whole foods and organic foods and fuel the body in a very natural way, and you're going to see a big shift in your health. And if you combine all seven of those, which I literally try to do every single day, it's so incredibly powerful for your body.
Yeah.
And I've started to mention this early, and I don't think I finished my thought process. There's a reason why I do this, because I want to get you well. I want to get you. It's addicting when you start feeling better, and then
Hmm.
what? Guess what? You can go have an impact on the world, right? You can
Yes.
go instead of sitting on the couch Netflixing and chilling. You're not helping anybody, right? Netflixing and chilling. Get out and talk to your neighbor. Call your
Yeah.
friend, call your family, call someone who needs you, and or walk across the street and say hi to your neighbor, right? And just
Mhm.
have a positive impact on the world. And if you're sick, it's hard to do that. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's why I'm just so passionate about this. It's like, man, we could if we all did this, can you imagine the incredibly cool world that we would be living in, and how helpful people would be, and how good things can become. And so that's I maybe I'm too optimistic, but I don't believe so. I believe we can all work together and be change agents for good. So
There's
I'm
there's
hoping I can
no
help a
such
lot of people do that.
there's no such thing as too optimistic, you know?
There you go. I agree. I agree. Amen.
Um, I would like to I'd like to maybe have a further conversation at another time about faith,
Yeah.
because it's something that it's funny because God really does bring people into your life for a reason. And I've had a few conversations. So I'm it's May. I'm like wrapping up the rest of my recordings for the year, and then I pause for a couple months while the kids are out of school and stuff like that.
Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, and
Great plan.
then so when I pick back up in like September, then I'll be recording for the next year. So I'm wrapping things up for this year, and I've had a few conversations on faith,
Yeah.
and I'm writing a memoir that,
Awesome.
yeah, well, I plan to have it out on May 5th on my birthday, but something told me just wait. And so so I've been waiting, and I've had these conversations, and I'm like, I think this is what I've been waiting for, because I've had this faith journey that I've been on for a while, and it started with religion. It started being super, super religious. And then
Yeah.
it started, I was really, really religious. And then I went to school to earn my bachelor's degree in Christian studies, where it's funny that you mentioned, because, you practice this religion, but then you actually read the Bible and you
Right.
realize it's so less about the church and about your personal relationship.
It's not a building, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was so like ritualistic and all these things. And I have been going through this journey, and it's been a long, in my opinion, kind of a long, maybe like a 10-year span journey.
Yeah. Me
And
too. Me too.
really,
Yeah.
that's so
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. And so I'm writing this book, and I'm like, there's just something missing, and I found it. And so it's so funny because these conversations that I've been having about faith are just kind of like these aha moments,
Right.
that's like,
Right.
I'm understanding certain things that I didn't really know how to comprehend
Yeah.
or, put into words. And now it's just kind of like, that's what I've been looking for,
Right. Right.
that's what I've been trying to say, but I just didn't know how to say it. And so
Yeah.
but I appreciate you pointing out that faith component. And I also appreciate you pointing it out that it doesn't, it's not religion specific, right? It's not belief specific.
That's right.
Our
That's
faith,
right. It
can
doesn't need to
be
be about anybody else or any
right.
it doesn't need about it to be any other thing, right?
Exactly.
That's the beautiful thing about the having a personal relationship with God. It's like it's
Yeah.
between you and him.
Right.
No one
Right.
else has to even know. No, no one, I mean, you should, right? When you do,
Yeah.
when you have this relationship, it's much more healthy if you do. But at the
Right.
same point, like literally just get rid of all the pre misconceptions
Yeah.
about faith. All that stuff really doesn't it does not matter, right? He
Yeah.
wants a
Yeah.
personal relationship with you,
Right.
like you. God wants to have a relationship with you, not anybody else. And then when you have that, it's like it's so incredibly cool. It's just like,
Right.
wow,
Right.
I can
Hmm.
literally have a relationship with God, and then I can start listening and having conversations. A lot of people will have their prayer closet, and I mean, it's cool, right? Go
Yeah.
have your prayer closet. That's great, right? I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
But you can talk to God all day long,
Right.
anywhere, anytime. He's
Yeah.
always there. And so it's like
Mhm.
it's such a great thing to have. And then you just when you start having that relationship, and you read the Bible, it's a living, they call it the living word, because as you read it, he's like literally communicating with you, and you're just like, where you read a passage like, where did that come from? Right? That's like, I have no
Yeah.
idea why are we even thinking about that? Or
Right.
sometimes it's your own brain, right? Just thinking about things. But a
Yeah.
lot of times it's proddings from the Holy Spirit who are leading you. And it is a fascinating thing because it's been a discovery for me too, right? I grew up as a Christian, but like I told you, for decades I didn't practice it, right?
Right.
I
Right.
proclaimed it, but I wasn't a true Christian. Now I really believe I am and understand it much better. And of course, you can study the
Right.
Bible for 30 years and still not understand it all, right?
Right.
It's like so incredibly complex, but it is a fascinating discussion, and I want to help people because I was in that same situation. It was like I didn't really, it's like really, maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Yeah.
really wasn't for a really, really long time. Now I'm so confident. If you would have told me 5 years ago, I was going to be, on a podcast talking about faith or even politics or anything like controversial, I would be like,
Hmm.
no way. I hate talking about stuff like that. I literally, because I believe the reason why is I wasn't comfortable in my own skin.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know enough to be comfortable. And now I don't care. If you don't like what I believe in, that's okay, fine. I still
Right.
love you, and that's the fun thing about loving Jesus is that it's like it's so incredibly cool to see his life and how he lived his life, and he interacted with the lowest of the low, and he didn't care what your status was. You were a human being, right?
Hmm.
And you're a human being. He loved you, right? And it's just like
Right. Right.
wow, it's so cool. And that's what changed my mind a lot about just society too, is like, I get so mad at certain people, but then at the same point, it's like, hey, they're still human, they're still people, they're still, it doesn't matter their color, their race, their religion,
Right.
their, background, nothing matters. We're all descendants of God. And
Yeah.
so we're
Yeah.
all the same.
Yeah. Very much so.
Anyway, so I'd love to have a conversation with you about faith.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Is there anything else that you would like to say or ask or anything before we wrap up?
Yeah, the only thing on my website, exodusstrong.com, I have a what is your score? It's just a wellness assessment that's really fun to go through because you go through the assessment and it's only takes a couple minutes, right? Like
Hmm.
literally the 2 or 3 minutes, and just you answer some simple questions and it gives you a score. And it's really fun for you to see that score. You score, and then you share it with your friends or your loved ones, and then have them do the same thing, and then you
Yeah.
compare scores. And you say, "Oh, wow,
Oh,
yeah," because I'm inside all the time. I'm not getting that natural sunlight. So then
yeah.
we give you literally of recommendations of things you can do to help you with your score. And again, all of
Okay.
those things are there's no cost, right? It's just go take the wellness assessment. That's fun. So just go to my website, exodusstrong.com, and fill out that what is your score wellness assessment, and it's really enlightening and fun, something you can share with others, and try to help yourself and help others.
Okay, perfect. Well, you already answered my next question, but there may be others. Can you give us any can you let everyone know where they can find you, maybe on social media or your website? You provided that, but if you want to just put it out there again.
Yeah, sounds good. So go to exodusstrong.com. And then I do have a community that I spend a lot of time in. It's called Biohackingville, and biohackingville.com. It's free to sign up. Informational resources about health. And so you want to learn about red light therapy. I have ridiculous amounts of information about red light therapy. You want to learn about cold plunging, right? I have information there. You want to learn those breathing techniques. I have information there. If you're interested in integrative oncology, it's something a battle I'm winning. And I just have developed a bunch of resources for people who are going through a battle. And so it's all in my community, Biohackingville. And so you're welcome to go there. But exodusstrong.com, fill out that wellness assessment. That's the most fun part. Things that you can share with people, and really enlightens you with the things that you can do.
Perfect.
Or share your score. You can join the Biohackingville community and share it with everybody in the community.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here today, and I really appreciate your conversation and your time, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Yeah, sounds great. I look forward to it. God bless you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for spending this time with us on Just the Who of Us. We hope today's conversation offered reflection, comfort, or a moment of clarity. If this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it with someone who may need it. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember, you're not alone in the journey.